what the CCNRs will require, and then the resident will bring the paperwork to you and have a little plot plan, and we can discuss that. And I've been able to help people by recommending stuff for them for the to go to the contractor and do this and do that. Not tell them what to do, but to go to the contractor and discuss items that needed to be changed with their contractor. So I think I'll be an asset to the architecture committee.
Your background, you had that all your career was in construction, correct?
Correct.
Directors, does the director have any questions? Jason, you got any questions?
Shalene would like to know if she can ask them a question. I don't mind.
This would be for everybody, and I didn't know if I could or not, but though the CCNRs are very important and you have to know them and you have to know easements and things like that, and each unit's different, you also have to give out violations. And that is right now a huge thing, because we have people that are not obviously following the CCNRs, and you have to be very diligent, because we want to clean up the fort, and that means cleaning up each unit where it needs to be. And so for each of you, how important is that to you? And it can be confrontational, not in a bad way, but you will have to talk to people about that, and stick to your guns, because I've seen where people have given them violations and I want to say charges on their accounts, because there's charges that they will give them, but then they're taken off because somebody had a story that they had to say, because maybe they were sick or they couldn't do this or that. And then it seems like they still continue to do the same things over and over. So I just kind of want to put that out there, because I think that's part of, on the architecture committee, is making sure our units are clean and people are held accountable for making their areas really nice. Because that's the only way we're going to make the fort look better, is if we hold them accountable for that. And it doesn't have to be in a bad way, but just, hey, we live here, you live here, we want it to look beautiful. We want it to look beautiful.
Understand. As far as that, I've noticed, even back to when I was here, that there were violations to some people and nothing was ever done. So that is high on my priority list, to take care of those items and beautify. There's some stuff after I left that was done that didn't comply to the CCNRs, and there was no variance given for that. So those things need to be addressed. I don't know if you could go back and make people change stuff, but it definitely needs to be a stop to some of those items. I'll just mention one. Some of the items were, like in my unit, you can have a privacy fence from 12 feet back, but then you have to have an ornamental fence in the front, which, beautifies the area. Well, people are building privacy fences all the way around. They're building a box around, and I don't agree with that. And that is in the CCNR, not to allow that. And even though they're in there, they were done. So, but my question to the board would be, would we have the support to, as we go forward, to stick to our guns, to your guns, to not allow these people to do stuff that's unsightly? Because these things are unsightly, and I've got a lot of ideas, and I understand that the board has a final say with variances, but we need to stick to the guns as far as the CCNR state. No privacy fence in the front, don't allow it.
So I want to chime in on that, because you're correct. The art committee decides these things. The board only decides variances.
Correct.
And as our GM correctly mentioned, the art committee is responsible for finding people. The board does not find people.
Correct.
The art committee finds people. That's very, so yes, the only way they can get away with something that you're describing would be in the scenario of variance. And unless they have a variance, just to be clear to everyone, just because other people are grandfathered in or have been allowed, doesn't mean that other people are allowed. Furthermore, and this is stated in our bylaws that and I could speak to this personally. I will not as a board member, but just because a violation exists that isn't, brand new, say it's 1, 2, 3 years old, just because one exists and has not been corrected does not mean it's automatically passed. Unless they have a variance, it's not in compliance. So even things done, like say someone uh put a hole through a wall that was their neighbor's wall, that doesn't mean that it's okay because it didn't get caught before, and that isn't our governing docs. So some of this is cleaning up a mess, but also enforcement is on the art committee and via fines, and the only way around that is to get a variance.
Understand?
But thank you for bringing up the topic. It's good to know that you're thinking about it.
You
Also, doing the fines and things, y'all will be responsible for following the rules and sending them a notice, 30-day notice, and then we can put it onto their, we'll put that into their account now that we're in Buildium, that they owe the fines, and, that, there's no way, 209, that we can foreclose on fines. But if they ever get behind on their assessments, we can attach those fines to the lien for foreclosure and add it to that. But we can discontinue their usage of resort amenities. Those are some things that can be done. Is that they no longer can use the pool or the golf course or the trails or anything like that. Now, how we're going to enforce that? That's another question about, talk about how that we're going to know if they're in violation of using the amenities when they've been fined and have to pay their fines. But that's some really good things. Maybe your committee could get together and make some suggestions to the board on how we can help y'all.
Yes, and I believe that the committee, we should, if I'm appointed, we should, go back and maybe check the progress, check and see if they did it and abide by CCNRs instead of like, I think that's been a problem in the past. That people need to go back to the art committee and check up on what they're doing, especially when they're done.
Sounds like y'all have a big job to do.
Yeah.
It is, it is.
I do know one thing that's gonna be different is we have an architecture committee in Buildium. So you all will get training on how to input that information in there and how you can keep track and how you can send out emails and that. So we'll be learning that together. And we also have, and just from prior experience, we'll have to work together on some things so we know what the flow would be, especially when it comes to putting the fines on the accounts. I think there was maybe not a flow chart that said, hey, we have a fine, we need to give it to so-and-so, so it could be put on their account, their ledgers, so that way they know that they have a fine. So there's some things that I've learned while I've been here that I think we definitely can work together to make it better. And hopefully Billiam will really be a big help for us.
Oh, awesome. But I thought about a spreadsheet for one for each unit, that's even better.
Yeah. Is there a motion to accept Mr.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, you're in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Valdez.
Thank you, officer.
Mr. Terry Wolf. Come on down. You know what you're getting yourself into?
I have an idea.
Okay, good. Not afraid? Good. Questions, anybody?
I think it's important to ask each one of you, what is the most important thing that you want to see accomplished while you're on the committee?
First step is be sure that the work is presentable, the aesthetics. Because people come in and see it one time, and that is the first impression is very important. And close second is any new work needs to be done properly within the rules. And having been around construction for close to 30 years, I know materials and procedures. And I think that can help, especially with the construction experience we have here.
Councilman Diaz? Can you hear me?
Please talk. You're talking, we can't hear you, Aaron.
I actually haven't seen Mr. Wolf's application.
Oh, just,
So,
I can send it.
yeah, I can just ask him the questions. I have the other applications. So, if he can't, I mean, I already asked him, why do you want to serve on the committee, or do you think you've covered that already?
No, that's, there's obviously a need because there's been a void in the process for a few months here. Need to step up and see if I can help.
Okay.
Any questions?
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
You want the motion?
I'm all to appoint, Mr. Wolf to the ERC.
Is there a second motion?
Second.
All those in favor? Is there a second motion? We have, and Ms. Wolf is not participating in this vote. All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yeah, I want to stick around for a little bit, in case you want Dr. Matt or Mike Petty, who's going to be here in charge, but our last applicant, Garland Young, Mr. Young, come on up.
First, I'd like to apologize for not sitting on the right of the application. I'm glad I get a chance to tell you why I'm here. For the architecture committee. I served on the architecture committee about 4.5 years before I went to the directors. I went through the CCNR and I think it's important that each unit stays within the bounds of the CCNR. I know in the past, I hate to say this, but a lot of times I felt that the CCNR or the applications were rubber stamped. And I don't believe in that. When I said we do like to and look at the project and stuff like that. But being familiar with the CCNR and basically every unit, I know I get to the help to the architect. And basically, I'm 85 years old, I have nothing to do with it. And that's what I said about this one, simply do nothing with it. Thank you very much.
Garland, can you tell us, just go down quickly down memory lane, the years that you served, on the architecture committee? More or less, because you were on the board in 2009, 2010, the regular board.
I was on the board, I think, in 2009, 2012.
Okay.
Okay.
Before 2009?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Before that, I sat on the renovation committee for quite a few years. I was chairman of that.
Okay.
And I led quite a few projects.
The rebuilding of the stables when the termites got in, all the structure and the roof had to be propped up and done. And Seminole Hall, the upper deck and stuff.
Pardon me, Mr. Young, can you speak
Yes.
more into the mic? I'm
Get closer to the mic, yeah.
I apologize.
That's actually when you do that better. Thank you. Sorry, it's through the.
Anyway, I
So-
sat on the preservation committee prior to going to the architect.
Closer, Mark, closer.
Closer.
Yeah, right
There
there,
you go.
right there.
Lift it up for you, love. There you go.
Is that better?
That better, much better.
Much better, thank you.
Anyway, if you didn't hear everything I said to start out with, I sat on the architecture committee, and I think it was about 4.5 years, but don't make me bet the life on it, but I think it's
5 years old, but I know it was before I got off the architecture committee to sit on the board for 3 years, and after that, I don't know about you gentlemen, but maybe after you serve your terms on the board, it can be aggressive. Is your answer about fines and stuff like that? I have no problem sending out a fine and stuff like that. Going through billions and it will look like it's more official. It's not. Okay. The only question I have to the board is, do we give on the architecture committee, a guy comes in here and wants to build a home, and so we're an HOA. He presents his plans to the architectural committee, and we give the okay. Are we saying that we're building a home to the Texas building code specs when we give that okay?
What was the last part? You're talking about the architecture committee approving house plans, which they did for me when I built my house.
Right.
So what's your final question?
The
The final question was, when you give a building permit, in most suburban areas, they have a building inspector in the county, and I don't think we got one.
No, there's not one here in town.
But as an architectural committee, when we're given the approval of the home being built, say 10 years later, the guy sells it and he comes back and says, hey, this wasn't built to the specs of Texas building specs. Are we liable? That's the question.
I don't believe so.
So again, it's still a little difficult to understand you, but it sounds like you're asking about whether once something's under construction, kind of verifying that it's built to spec. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So what you're talking about is a building inspector.
A building inspector,
I've known a couple of them. They're certified as a certified plumber, electrician, and building inspector. They're certified in all three. That's a certified building inspector. And you got certified plumbing inspectors and certified electrician inspector. And I don't know what road we're going down when they build a home here. Are we having electrical work certified or what?
So as far as the architect, because the limitation is just to materials per CCNRs and setbacks. I mean, I don't know if some sections have height restrictions, story restrictions, etc. So you're limited to what the CCNR states. So if, for instance, someone built the building not where they did on their plot plan or in violation of, then yes, that would need to be addressed. And is there a process with our art committee where they check throughout stages of the construction, for instance, really to move forward before they started pouring a foundation, let's say for a garage? There should be they stake it out on the lot and it's verified that it is per the plan they submitted, because the whole, it's better to ask for forgiveness than to beg for permission type of thing. That unfortunately has a history of playing out at the court with violations. So I would think that's the limitation of it, like where the building is, what the materials are, does it satisfy the CCNRs, not correct, not as an inspector, whether it's plumbing, electrical, structural, etc. Yes, it's just the basics of the CCNRs.
So we're looking at them if the setback is 4 feet or 5 feet from the owner, the boundary line, and he's going to be 5 feet back from the boundary line. If the drainage says it has to run on his property, if the drainage says it has to run on his property,
you can't have the roof on the drainage on the other.
property, I understand that, sir. Any more questions of me? And I apologize, Mr. Aaron, if you didn't understand me. I understand.
Thank you.
Okay, Ms. Wolf, any questions from, we're good?
I just would like to know that you're going to be able to get along with the board.
And we can work together, because I believe at one of our last meetings, you stood up and wanted a petition to get rid of the entire board.
No, just the three of us, not everyone.
Yes, ma'am, I did, but that doesn't mean, that's my opinion, that doesn't mean that I can't work with people. That's what we
And that was talking about,
You know, yeah, that makes it more better.
Oh, that's easy.
Yes, ma'am, and I did say that at the one budget committee. But that was an opinion, my opinion, it's not the whole.
what I meant from that was,
That was a very informative,
I hear nothing at all.
that was, you're not hearing me at all?
Now, yeah.
Now I'm,
You gotta
that was
get closer.
that was a very, informative budget meeting. And believe it or not, I appreciate the board, being that open with the public. And I'm always open with my opinion. I'm not saying I'm always right, but if I have an opinion, I'm man enough to speak it. But in my past record, I put 21 years in the military. I had people that I didn't like, but I worked with them. I had people that
I'm getting zero.
It's okay.
I had people when I was in the military that I didn't like, but I worked with them. I put 21 years in the military. I put 20 years in the VA working as a X-ray tech. I run, right after I got out of service, I run an X-ray department. I think that's my hearing aid. And anyway, I think I could be a help to the architecture committee. And I'll promise every one of you, I'm not ashamed to speak my opinion, but I'm not afraid to work with you. That's all I gotta say.
Thank you, Carmen.
I have one question. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to hear the answer, regarding, like, as a follow-up, and I also don't know if you answered this already because I'm getting zero sound, so forgive me if I'm asking you to repeat yourself, and if I don't hear it, I'll just have to refrain further, but can you, I heard something about opinion and, like, really actually almost nothing, but a follow-up question I would have. And it wasn't the mic, it just cut out. I mean, it's like zero sound. I could see that you were talking, but zero sound. But the question I would like answered for at least everyone else is, given the past action, regardless of expressing your opinion, which is what it is, can you describe the relationship of the committees to the board? As in, what's the relationship between committees on the fort to the board of directors on the fort?
Are you talking about president or ones that I sat on?
I'm talking about any committee, whether it's the preservation committee or the architecture committee or the golf committee or the airport committee. If you understand what the reason and the relationship.
Well, sure. I know, since I've said on every one of them. It means that the architecture committee is making sure that the CC&Rs are being followed and stuff, then that's their goal, and that's what we gotta do. If there's fines and stuff like that involved for people not keeping their property looking right, then that's what we gotta do. As far as the preservation committee, I sat on it. We restored Seminole Hall, the stables, the handicap ramp went up to the service club, So it's every committee has an important every committee has an important job. And since I've sat on every one of them, I think I understand the importance of each one of their commitments. Thank you, sir.
All right, is there a motion to accept Mr. Young's application? I make a motion that we accept his application. Is there a second motion to accept his application?
I just want to say, I have to abstain. I could hear like 2% of that. So I'm not voting for or against. I can't hear it and I can't reasonably vote.
Well, there's no second motion on the floor, so it just ends here. Sorry, Garland. Before we go on to the next item, Miss Dr. Kilgore, did you want to say something? I know you raised your hand earlier. Anybody else after her want to say something?
I'm glad we're getting around to this. We really miss the architecture committee. My only concern is it's a very difficult committee to serve on. You have to learn a tremendous amount of information. So I was wondering, of course, Mr. Valdez here is good in terms of, he's been on the committee before. I'm wondering if we can get some volunteers of people who have been on the architecture committee to help them out initially, to help with training them. But maybe you could look into that.
Thank you very much. Any other concerns regarding the architecture committee? Okay, the next item on the agenda is Ms. Calendar is proposing that we commence selling work lots at a 25% discount. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. We did really good last year. I think it was 6 lots. We did it about the same time during Christmas and into the middle of January. I think it would be a good push to put it out there for the holidays. And we can advertise it and give every lot owners as well as new people, to give everybody an opportunity to, get lot and maybe become a member, and we could, grow our people.
The timetable will be, the timetable will be.
I'm thinking December 1st. I'd like December 1st through January 15th.
Not January 31st.
We could extend it and do.
I think that would be reasonable.
Okay.
Maybe 2 months.
Yeah. We accept the offer of January 31st, 25% off and holiday.
Okay, and they'll commence December 1st up until January 31st. Any concerns?
I'd just like to make sure if you sell these lots, that make sure they have the information that once they buy the lot, they're committed to paying that lot fee or assessments.
Oh, trust me.
Because I've noticed
Everybody
that
gets a big stack of paper that's gonna be all.
yeah,
And then they throw it in the trash right when they walk out the door and give us the check.
yeah, that we follow up and make sure that they understand that an assessment goes with that lot.
One of the new things that I'll be doing is once we sell a lot and my member services girl goes through the whole process, I want her to let me know so I can go in and talk to each and every one of them myself. And that way they will understand that if you have one lot, there's membership, residential fee if you build on there. If you have another lot, that's also membership. And if you have another lot, so a membership is tied to each and every lot. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. They will understand it. And they will understand that after they've been late for over 60 days and they've gotten their notice, we will send out 209. And after that 209, if they still don't pay, they will be getting lien on their property.
Okay.
Just.
I had just noticed because I was working on return ballots, a lot of people where their ballots had been returned, and a big portion of them were lot owners. And, they knew to pay their taxes on the lot, but none of them had ever paid assessments. And I know when, I was reading through some of the membership things that if they're buying it through a realtor, the realtor has to give them all that information and tell them. So if they're buying them from you, then you're the ones gonna be doing it.
We can only sell ours.
And
Anyway,
then they have
only
to
our
pay a
property.
fee, a membership fee, to get a packet. They backdoored it through some realtor or something, and we don't even know they bought it, unless we're checking the CAD records every day. So they bought it from us. I can guarantee you the Gabby kids have a thick sack of information. Whether they use it or not, that's their deal. But
And just for clarification, they do sign a form saying they received the packet, and we have a copy of that signed in their
Yes,
packet that indicates how much they have to pay and everything else. I think that's a standard. Okay.
yes, it's standard.
All right, we have one motion to accept Ms. Calendar's request. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second. Okay, all those in favor?
uh,
Aye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time, the meeting has concluded. We're adjourning at 4:39 p.m. on November 20th, 2025. Our next regular board meeting will be on December 20th, 2025 at 9 a.m. here in the boardroom. Thank you.